Hey, profs, welcome on in. My name's Rob Lightfoot, proud two-time alum of Raitt Edelman College of Communication, class of 2000-2001. This is Beyond the Brown and Gold.
I'm Jessica Kennedy. I'm the co-host here, also a two-time proud Rowan alum, class of 2008 from the Raitt Edelman College of Communication and Creative Arts, and 2015 from the College of Education. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Rowan Radio 89.7 WGLS FM presents Beyond the Brown and Gold, a show that highlights the lives and memories of Glassboro State and Rowan University alumni. Now, here are your hosts, Rob Lightfoot and Jessica Kennedy.
On today's show, we have a two-time Glassboro State College alum, Maureen St. John.
We're going to go a little abstract today, Jess. A little off-brand than we typically do.
Sorry, was that too formal of an introduction for an artist like Maureen?
Yeah, she likes to have a little more creative opens.
Okay, I'm sorry. Why don't you give it a shot?
Maureen's on the show today. How about that? Did that work out well?
No, so creative.
Okay.
Well, Maureen's a studio artist, photographer, and retired art educator. She's a Glassboro resident, so I mean, she walked to this interview. So
she talked about what I loved is we talked about all the shows that used to take place here.
Yeah.
And she gives us all the big name artists that I think many of you will recognize in listening to the show.
Oh, for sure. And she talks about her career in education, which was 27 years long in elementary ed and then later in high school education, and what she's been doing since and how her artwork came full circle and brought her back to Rowan. So we'll start this interview on a little bit of an untraditional note. We want you to tell everybody your favorite place to eat in Glassboro, because we were just talking about that and why it's your favorite place to eat in Glassboro.
My favorite place to eat would be Angelo's Diner. It's been a place I've gone to since I started here at Glassboro State in the early 70s. Prices were reasonable for a college kid. We could always scrounge up enough change to go and eat a couple eggs and potatoes or whatever else, sometimes meat. And it was just a fun place to go because it's old and been here forever. But even back then, it was old and been there forever. So it was always a nostalgic place for us to go to.
But we were joking that it's relatively inexpensive still
Yeah, very. Right now, the prices are skyrocketing. And I think theirs went up 10 cents, you know. I think it costs more to print new menus than it did the price increase, but
Can you tell everybody what you paid for breakfast the last time you went? Oh, well, that's mind-blowing.
Yeah, I had one egg and potatoes. It was $2.45. I only drank water with it, so that's, you know, of course I had to pay tax and my big tip.
They probably charge like 10 cents for coffee with that. That's like absolutely nothing.
It's funny because all the alums that I talk to, they always say, is Angelo still there? I'm like, yeah, they're out of the area. They don't realize, you know.
Right,
yeah. It's one of their spots from back in the day that they love.
Yeah, and usually like any of my friends that come by, we have to take a visit there. And my husband grew up here in Glassboro. So he actually used to hang out there with the owner. Actually, she's the owner now. She was the daughter at that time. Hang out there in the back, and they would dance and stuff as a kid. And he always told me stories about that and how they would eat whatever they wanted to, and what a great time they had playing records and dancing.
Sounds like a little hopping joint.
Yeah,
I've only been there once.
I mean, it's
Have
such
you
a
been there?
tiny,
Just one time. Mm-hmm.
Such a tiny place. I think it's 6 booths and then the counter. But all the locals go there, and college kids frequent the place because of the reasonable prices. And like election day, all the local politicians come and wait for the results.
Oh, get out.
It's just a gathering place. And as I said, I recognize everyone when I go in there from many years ago. And I've seen us all age, which is okay. And we're still enjoying the food there at a reasonable price.
So was your first time at Angelo's, were you a student at Glassboro State your first time here, or did you grow up locally?
No, I didn't grow up here, but I used to come here in my high school years for great concerts. They had concerts, and we used to come over because I didn't live too far away. Some of the people I went to school with, high school, graduated and came on over to here, so we used to come over and party. I guess that's what you would call what we were doing. We would frequent the diner then, and also the P&B diner.
Oh, yeah.
was another place that we used to go to, which is now Monarch. And it was actually across the street where the car dealership is.
Oh, I didn't realize
and that place
it was a different location.
The actual building from there moved down to to Mullica Hill, Harrison Township. I don't know what it's called now down there, but the little restaurant right by the Amish market is the former one that was here.
The
but
Harrison House Diner?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
get out.
Yeah.
I didn't know diners moved around like
Neither
that.
did I. I knew the
I just
Checkers
got
moved.
up.
I remember the Checkers moving. So the Checkers used to be on this side of
it
town,
was
and they
over
just
here.
picked it up and moved it right over here.
That was the place to go to after the football game, the P&B Diner, because a lot of the parents would be in. So you went there. We went after football games to the Harrison House. It was P&B Diner then.
What were some of the shows you saw while you were here?
The concerts? Oh, my gosh. I have stories on those. We saw some of the greatest. When I was in high school, it came over again. I was only a freshman in high school when I saw Black Sabbath.
That's wild.
Which is a historical show because it was their first show in the United States. And in the middle of the show, they were so loud and pulling in so much energy that they blew the town out.
What?
The town was in darkness for a few hours. And they
literally
said,
black.
we will be back. We had to leave the building. It was an SB gym. And we had to leave the building, but they said, we will be back. We will be back. Don't leave. So we all left outside. And then a couple hours later, they came back and they finished the concert. That was pretty exciting. Also, when I was a freshman, saw Elton John. Wow.
Yeah.
They had some wonderful concerts at this college in the 70s. Some of the others, I saw Bonnie Raitt, who I can tell a story on that one.
Yeah, let's
Bonnie
hear it.
Raitt, again, in the gym. My friend and I, Patty, we went to the concert. I loved her. She was someone I really idolized. We went to the concert, and of course, it's jam-packed, and the girls' locker room was blocked off, but the door to the locker room was open about this wide. Those were our thin days when we were little skinny girls back then. We had to use the bathroom, so it's jam-packed, and there's a big line. So I said, well, let's go down in the locker room, not knowing that was the dressing room for the band and Bonnie. So we went down. Nobody was in there at that moment, and we're in the bathroom, and we're each in our own stall, and we hear voices, male voices. We're like, oh, my gosh. And we're right next door, and I think it's the band. And it was the band now. And then you peek through the little door opening, and we see them. They're in the bathroom with us in front of the mirror with their bell-bottom pants on and their Afro-styled hair and just getting themselves ready. And we're like, oh, my God, what are we going to do? We're both of us are standing on the toilet seat. So they don't see our feet. And thank goodness they didn't try to get in the stalls we were in. But we waited quietly until they left. And then we were like, oh, my God, can you believe it? And then we left the bathroom. And there we see Bonnie Raitt in front of the mirror, full-length mirror, with her guitar.
Wow.
Just strumming it and like psyching herself up for the show.
Wow.
And I just said, oh, my goodness, be quiet, stay back, be quiet. And we just watched her prep herself.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
So
It was so amazing. That is the thrill of my life. I think about it all the time, like, because I just idolized her so much. And I just thought, wow, if we didn't take that chance and put ourselves through that little doorway that we had.
Really some loose security they had. For Bonnie Raitt and her
So
team.
then we had to wait for her to go up, and then we went running up, and then we get up there with our friends, and we're like, oh my God, we just saw Bonnie Raitt prepping for the show. We just saw her in front of the mirror. And it was because I was telling my friends, stay back because she'll see our reflections. But thank God we did stay back for enough. But we could see the whole thing. And it was like, I think we paid like $2 to go to the show. It
Man,
was
these
worth.
are some
It
great
was worth.
prices.
Yeah,
It was worth
the
every
Angelo
cent.
Steiner prices.
So you didn't interact with her at all? You should have said something.
No, we didn't want to get in trouble,
Yeah.
for being out where and it was just cool to see her get herself psyched up and ready to go out and perform. So that was an exciting moment. But that was one of the many concerts. But I saw Billy Joel a couple of times, and he was here. Hall & Oaks, Peter Frampton, all the groups of the 70s.
Listen, I know all
They
these.
were hard.
We both came through the radio station, so we know all of the
That's
classic
what
artists.
I
for
figured
sure.
you would appreciate. Another one that was super loud was George Thorogood and the Delaware Destroyers.
Yep.
My friend and I went because some boy invited us. We didn't really know who they were. And we went in there, and they just started, and we were, oh my gosh, oh my gosh! But
Was there a concert like every week during that time?
There was many, and I mean the greatest artists. The only one that did not come here, and I was disappointed, was Bruce Springsteen. He was scheduled to be here, and for some reason, I forget what the reason was, he had to cancel. And we were the only state college in New Jersey that he did not play.
Oh, man.
So was the great party environment one of the reasons why you decided to come to Glassboro State?
I mean, that definitely was an enjoyment, but I didn't even realize until I really got here. And my goal was to come for the art department. I had looked at several art departments in the area and in the local state colleges, and Glassboro was doing well, and I came and I visited, and I liked what I saw. I met a few professors, and so I came. I presented my portfolio as my senior year of high school, and they accepted me, and I came along with my best friend, who was also an artist. We both came together.
And you said you didn't grow up in Glassboro, so where'd you grow up?
I grew up in Lindemald, which is in Camden County.
Yep.
It's only a half hour away. We didn't live on campus, but off right over here, right near where I live now, actually.
Probably a different vibe now, right?
Yeah, completely different. Actually, and my neighbors now are many college students.
But you enjoy. You have to enjoy that for some.
I do enjoy it, and I will. The people in town, you hear different perspectives on their views of the students. And I can say only good things. First of all, I enjoy being around the young. My husband passed away from cancer 8 years ago. When he was sick, that's when the students really just started moving into the neighborhood. And they came and they did so many things for me. And the two of us, they knew what days he had to go to chemo. They would stop by and help me get him into the car.
Wow.
Oh, my goodness.
And then they would do lawn work, yard work for us, and all kinds of stuff, always offering to do something. So I just thought they were wonderful.
So nice.
And I just I tell people all the time when they start complaining about the students that this is what they did for me. And then I also, I'll be in bed and I'll hear them 2 a.m. talking, not really doing anything. And I just remember back, oh, that was me. That was me. So I can't complain. That was me.
I was causing a ruckus at 2 a.m. too.
Yeah, and actually, back in those days, you were doing it at 4 a.m. because we went to the bars and they were open till 4 in the morning or more.
Gosh.
Yeah, it was the whole. And we had a bar in the student center.
The Rathskeller?
The Rathskeller, yeah. And that was the happening place on campus here. And then the what is now the Landmark, that was the Franklin House, and that was happening there. And then there was Mazzio's, which was uptown. There's a dance school there now. And there was the Study Hall Pub, which used to be located across the street from Angelo's, which is now the Town Park area and Rowan Boulevard. So there was a lot of happening places where we partied all night. And that was, what we did. And we could do it because we were young.
Yeah. Were there classes mixed into this?
Yeah, did you party
Yeah,
all
well,
night?
and it was one of those scheduled time. You made sure your classes were between late Monday afternoon and early Thursday. And then Friday you made sure you had off so that you could have
A good
Thursday
weekend.
night was the big night.
Still is, I
the
think,
big
for the
night.
kids.
Yeah, and I think it remains that way. And that's how we always worked our schedules, no matter what. If we couldn't fit something in that we needed, we were like, oh, well, we'll try next semester.
Well, let's talk about your education. So what was your plan for coming to Glassboro State College and your sort of vision for what you saw in a career?
Well, I came as a wannabe artist, studio artist. That's all I wanted to be. I wanted to work in a studio and show my work in a gallery. And my dad said,
How are you going to make money?
You need to think about how you're going to make money and get some benefits. But that was still my thought. And I just had an exhibit over at the gallery at the Rowan Campbell's Library. And it was called Full Circle because that's what I feel went full circle. With my dream as a young art student to be a studio artist, exhibiting their work. And I actually went through my 4 years with a focus on painting and thought I was going to be that. And then when I graduated, my dad says, you need to find a job. And he told me there's a help wanted sign at the Burger King because he's like, I don't know what you're qualified to do. But I did find a job. I worked for MAB Paints as a color specialist, working with the chemists who developed the paints. I developed the colors, which was fun. But then they put me into a decorating position, which meant sales for me, and I didn't like that part. So I came back to Rowan, Glassboro State at that time again. I came back to get my teaching certification because I thought, hey, teaching. I'll have the summers off and all the holidays off. Well, it doesn't quite work that way, but it was a good thought. And actually, I went into teaching art, which I'm very happy I did. That was a great.
What grade?
When I first began, I was teaching elementary art, and then in the mid-'90s, I changed to the high school level.
That's a big jump.
Yeah, and I stayed there until 2013. I retired.
What did you like about teaching?
Well, most of all, because it was my art, which I am obsessed with, and talking about art and doing art. I'm obsessed with that. But I really enjoyed the kids, working with the young people and impressing their minds and seeing them become impressed with just little simple things like color mixing, the magic. The young kids were like, ah. And then even the high school kids, when I would explain an artwork, they were, oh, now I get it. And that was exciting for me. And I still do a lot of volunteer stuff with young people.
Can you spot talent at that elementary school age already in the area of art?
Pretty much you can. You can see kids that have certain talent and certain willing to just be free. That's very important. Free with their work, not so concerned about the structure and staying in the lines and making sure all the lines are going in the same direction. We want the kids who are free with it and just, at least I do anyway, throw some color down and see what happens. And you can see those kids that have an eye for good design.
So you're doing more abstract stuff.
I do abstractions right now. I do realistic. I have in the past, but that's where I'm at now. And that was also a goal in my life, is to come to that total freedom, because I feel like the abstraction is the most creative. I mean, if I sit and I draw a tree and it looks just like that tree, okay, nature made that, not me, you know? But if I sit and I look at a tree and I abstract it, that's my creativity coming into play. And that's what I like.
Jess, I feel like you and I would struggle with some of the abstract stuff. I know I do.
Yeah.
I can't speak for you.
Well, I feel like I'm a creative, but I think I would want, if I painted that tree, I would want it to look
exact
like
same
that tree.
Right.
It's our OCD. Maybe it's our OCD.
Which is the way most people go and most people lean, and most people who don't quite understand what our goal is as artists would expect and see. And that's who they're going to praise the most if they don't really understand the process. But and this is only recent for me to do the abstractions. Again, that's why it was called full circle. It was called experimentalism, because that's what I was doing. And I always wanted to be a part of a group of an ism. You know, in the arts there's so many isms, and I wanted to be an ism, so I thought, well, let me just form my own. And I labeled it experimentalism because that's what I was doing, and I had success with it. I'm continuing with that. My exhibit over here, I had 29 paintings. I sold 19 of them. So
Wow, good for you.
How did that opportunity come about to have an exhibit over at the Campbell Library?
I'm involved with the college in different bases of volunteering for certain things and all. And Michael Benson over there is also an artist, and we know each other through that. And I'm in the Historic Society here with him, and he is also a part of that. And so I know him well. And then he told me that they were talking about opening a gallery over there, using some of the space for that, because with technology, the space is different now over there. And they just thought it would be a good thing to do. And I do show locally. They were aware of my exhibitions I do. I'm very involved in the arts in the community. So they invited me to see if I would be interested. And I looked at the space and I said, yes, let me try. So they made me the premier artist, the first one to exhibit there, which was exciting.
That is exciting.
And to be a one-man show and have been alumni. And we had an opening night, and that was very exciting because some of my professors from the 70s showed up.
Wow.
That's exciting.
That was really good. Dr. Dan Chard that really just set my heart on fire that they took the time to come and see what their former student from way back then was doing now.
So put us in the mindset of somebody who is doing the abstract art. Like, what do you even start with? Like, are you trying?
Is it an idea?
Yeah, like how does it get from here? For people in the podcast and radio
He's pointing
world,
to his
I'm
head.
pointing to my head. Thank you. How does it get from here onto the paper? Like, where do you start?
Well, I start with a vision, and the vision not necessarily being within my head. I'm very into nature. I spend a lot of time outdoors, and I do landscapes is what I do at this time. Observation, because you were mentioning about yourself in regards to being able to paint. The first thing that I want to teach a student is to observe. And observation is very important, learning how to look at something and then seeing it and then taking the shapes, taking apart. No longer seeing a tree, but seeing the shapes, seeing the colors, seeing what space it occupies. And so I find something that I like, a vision that I like, and I behold it within my mind. I'm also a photographer, so sometimes I take photographs, although I just use them for inspiration, not so much, and reference, not so much to copy. The camera already did that. I don't have to.
I love the way you look at it.
and then I go from there. I begin to pull out the colors that impress me within the artwork, within the photo, if it's a photo, or within whatever I'm observing. Or I begin to think, well, I think this color might look pretty good there, and this color might look good there. And then I work a little non-traditional. I hardly ever use a paintbrush. I use credit cards to scrape
really?
and smooth my paints on. I use found objects to apply things. I use all different types of other things. I use paintbrush when need. I do put a water wash on my papers and with a brush, but after that I just basically let everything go on with something else. And I use my husband's credit cards. My husband passed away, as I said earlier, and I just do it because I know that he held these in his hands at one time, and I want him to be a part of it. And that's what I feel when I'm doing it. I'm feeling his. And he was not an artist himself, but he encouraged me very strongly. And so I just like that idea and that part, that he's a part of
Very
it.
sweet.
So, yeah, so I just begin to lay my colors, and I'm looking for a vision. I spend a lot of time moving my artwork around to let the colors flow in whatever direction and whatever I feel would be the right vision I want to see, until I'm satisfied, and then I will call it quits. Sometimes I call it quits for a while, and then I go back to it. So all my abstractions, because people will ask me, well, where is this? Where is this? And I can't really say this is, but I will say this, what inspired me was, but some people are insistent because they think things should be real. And where is it? So sometimes I'll just say, oh, it's such and such a lake with the sun going down.
Good. That's good. Make it up.
And it is usually what inspired me. And then through the pandemic, I have a health issue, so I used to travel a lot around the world, and now I can't travel. And through the pandemic, I couldn't even go out. I was isolated. But when there came time where they said, well, you can start going out, as long as I was not allowed to be around anyone, I had to go out alone and go out in nature, which was fine because that was right up my alley. I started, I'm not allowed to leave this area. I have to stay within 2 hours of University of Pennsylvania because I'm on a transplant list.
Oh, okay.
So I just started exploring New Jersey, the beautiful state of New Jersey, which I always thought was beautiful, but wow, I really discovered it because I'm on dialysis. I don't want to get into this, but which meant confined me even more to my home because I did it at home. I did it overnight and into the morning for 9 hours. every day. So that was a commitment. And then after that was completed, I really didn't have a whole lot of energy. But late afternoon, I would start to get energy. So I would take a ride for sunset and just discovered New Jersey. And I started photographing. I did have an exhibit of my photos also from my travels during the pandemic. And that's what really influenced me and I began to say, okay, it's time for me to begin to abstract my work. Mm-hmm. And that's what I started doing, and I've been working on that for a couple of years now. And I'm having success, and I'm enjoying it, which is most important.
That's that full circle.
Yeah, and that was my full circle because I'll tell you, when I was in college, senior year, you have to have an exhibit, the art majors. So I had my first show here, and here I am all these years later as a senior citizen having, I'm not going to say my final show, but my show where I have completely come full circle, where I am the studio artist I always dreamed to be. Since I retired, I have become the studio artist that I dreamt of doing as a college student, and so I've come full circle.
That's beautiful, really.
It's good. Yeah, it's all good.
So is your house full of paints in different colors and like, or what? Let me guess. Your walls are white at home. No.
Well, actually, I'm in the
Blank
middle of painting the walls. They're all light colored because I don't want them to really interfere with the artworks, because I do have a collection of artworks, not just mine, other artists. But I'm in the middle. They need painting again, and I was like, all white. Yesterday I was sitting there, all white, all white.
Rob envisions you taking the credit cards to the wall.
Yeah, I just figured you would that would be your canvas, right? You could just do a whole.
Oh my gosh! Don't give me that idea.
Let's do it. Let's get crazy. Let's get nuts. Yeah, let's come. We'll come over. I got credit cards.
Are they spendable though?
Well, unfortunately, I don't like to use them too much.
I show a lot now, at least 2 or 3 shows a year or more, actually more, because I go in a lot of group shows, but I have a couple solo shows per year.
But we were talking off air about the opportunities that exist now at the university for shows, because Maureen was saying how active you are in coming to some of the events. I think it's a great opportunity to sort of promote the arts and all the pieces that are offered here at the university that some folks might not be aware of what happens at the university. Yeah,
they have a wonderful new gallery on relatively new High Street, the High Street Gallery, which is beautiful, and they have great shows there. At Westby, they have the old gallery where I, as a student, worked, which I loved. That was fun. With Dr. Appleson, who is still here. I don't know if you know him.
I don't know, no.
Oh, he's a legend in the art department. But, yeah, I was in we were called ECVA, Exhibition Committee for the Visual Arts, and I was part of that. And it was just a bunch of kids, college kids. We set up the shows. We were the gophers. We set up the shows. When they had the openings, we manned the table, food. Now, back in those days, you only had to be 18 to drink. So it was a party. And we had wine and cheese, and it was a party. So yeah, that was like between each show, we had to paint the walls. And that was our gig, and mostly what we did was sit on the floor and eat pizza and talk. But it was just a fun time for the little artsy students, and that's where I got my start in the galleries, was here at Rowan, again, full circle. And it was with Dr. Appleson, who was our advisor.
And besides the abstract art, as somebody who has I'm not going to brag, but Maureen, I've got a heck of a hand turkey. I'm not gonna lie.
What does that mean? Like a handprint?
Yeah, the handprint with the turkey kind of outline for kids. No, come on.
I have plenty of handprint artworks with the 2 and a 4-year-old.
Okay, all right.
So
I'm just trying to brag about my art skills over here. Yeah.
Well, that's when you're abstracting, that's what you're doing. You're looking for the shape of what something is, and that turkey.
It worked out.
It works. That your handprint
fits the turkey. A little
fits
gobble
the
gobble.
Turkey, yeah.
So you wobble. Yeah. Then
you got everything you need.
Exactly.
So
you put a little top.
That's the start of it all. You're working with the shape.
Yeah.
You're an abstract artist. You didn't even know. Do you think there's a little bit of an artist that, like when you were doing elementary school and high school students, I'm sure you had students that were really into it and students that were not so much. Could you see like a little artist in everyone, even the kids that weren't really into it?
Yeah, for the most part. And you know what? As their teacher, you had to find a way to make them feel comfortable with what they were able to do. I tried to do that, and it seemed to work often. And I think once that, like I said, they have to be comfortable and free. Once they felt that comfort and freedom. And it's a shame because we're so conditioned, like young kids, we buy them coloring books. At least we used to. I don't know what they do now. They get digital books of some type. And again, it's stay in the lines, color in the right direction. That's such a wrong thing to tell a kid. You know, just go. Do what you want. And I love when these kids just scribble over the page and all. That's the most beautiful because it's total expression, and it's their expression. It's not your teacher saying, oh, don't go outside that line, or your mom saying, oh, go in that same direction. It's them. It's totally them. And like when I taught the elementary school, I let them do it that way.
Now, were you the art teacher that had like the markers that had the smells, the different smells, the cherry and the mango?
Yeah.
We all love those, although we
Yeah,
probably
I
should have been
did.
smelling those like we should have back in the
But
day.
again, I go way back. So there was a time when they weren't. So I do remember, and they came in handy in many ways. I had a couple students that were blind, legally blind. And
didn't even think
for
about
me
that.
to say, okay, smell this, that's the color. And then they would
They'd know it.
learn through the colors. Yeah, I mean, I had a student that was totally blind, and
I didn't even think about that
could
application.
create some beautiful things with those. He knew what colors he was applying because he could smell them. I mean, and they're more sensitive to that than we are, so it worked. So when they actually created those, that was a wonderful
Did you
thing.
remember those, Jess?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Like
And you
they're
always,
called, like,
and then
Mr.
the kids
Sketch,
always
I
had
think.
color on the end of their nose.
Yeah, 'cause they always put it
It's
up to
because they would
color.
smell.
I was one of those kids, probably. You know what I mean?
He's still one of those.
Yeah, we were smelling those things like crazy back in the day. That and the rubber cement. It was.
Oh yeah.
That explains a lot.
Talk to us about the importance of the arts. I'm not an artist in your sense, but I always, thrived in music classes and things like that where I got to be creative. Talk to us about how important that is in development of a child.
Well, it's very important for all of us. And in a child's development, again, I lean back to the freedom and the ability just to be impulsive and just do as you please to a point that you are still being or staying within boundaries. And it's so important to experience the arts. You don't have to be an artist, but you should experience the arts. And that was part of the beauty of the pandemic. A lot of people started experiencing nature, experiencing the arts, because it was coming to us through technology in some way, or just, okay, we suddenly can get out and we're doing outdoor concerts and things. So that was beautiful because people who didn't usually do that stuff were doing it. Because I knew, because they were invading my areas. I was like, going on a nature walk, and I'm like, where are these people coming from? What's
These
this
people never
about?
walked before. Why are they out here?
So, but I think in the early stages for a child to appreciate. We're surrounded by art. And we're constantly making choices from the time we get up. Do we brush our teeth or do we not? Or do we? And for a kid, it's like, which toothpaste do I use? The minty one or this? Because how we have to fool the kids into doing things. So let's.
Strawberry. That's
let's
our
give them
toothpaste for the
something.
boys.
Give them something flavorful, tasteful, whatever it is. From the time we wake up in the morning, we begin to make judgments and choices. What should I wear? What color car will I buy? It's around us constantly. And it all has effects on us. It has effects psychologically and emotionally on all of us. We don't always realize it. We know what some of us know what visual tension is, and you could be sitting in a room and having a headache, and it could be because there's a painting on the wall crooked, but you don't know that. You don't realize, why am I getting this
None
headache?
of my neurologists have ever mentioned that as a probable cause.
Yeah, there's something
Mad about that.
something that bothers you, and then suddenly somebody straightens it, and all of a sudden you're like, whoa, okay. What's visually around us affects us, and so that's why the arts are so important. And whether it be music, lifts your life. No matter what you're feeling. If you want to be down, you can listen to music. If you want to be up, you can listen to music. And if you just want to be mellow and hang out, you can listen to music. So music should be a constant in your life. But all the other arts, too, the visual arts, performing arts, they're all so vital to just daily survival, I feel.
So we started the show with the music questions, and I think we'll sort of cap it here.
Mm-hmm.
You said music takes you up and can take you in all different motions. What artists are you listening to if you want to go up?
Bruce Springsteen brings me in every direction.
We're
going
going
to
to talk about the Glassboro State College,
Right.
I promise.
We're going
Right.
to talk to Bruce.
But Bruce Springsteen brings me in every direction. But I like almost anybody from the 70s, and I listen to a lot of Bob Marley. But I also listen to a lot of classical music. I like a lot of instrumental music when I'm doing my art, especially because I don't want, as I'm painting and I'm trying to be focused on what I'm doing, I don't want words, the lyrics going through my head. I want the instrumental sounds to influence me, but not the lyrics, because that can bring me in the direction I don't want to go at times.
Interesting.
You know, so I listen to instrumental music when I work, when I paint.
We're going to invite you to a little gathering at Angelo's Diner where you could bring some of your work.
Yeah.
Oh,
We'll pay for the potatoes and eggs. We'll pay the we'll pay the $2.40.
For the $4.
oh, thank you.
And we'd love to see some of your work because I missed your showing, but we're so glad that you're able to
thank
bring everything full circle back to campus, and we're grateful that you were able to come with us today.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I thought of bringing some, but then I thought it's radio.
Yeah, well, we're still alive.
But yeah,
We're
that's
doing all
true.
this
Yeah,
stuff.
I could have. Yeah.
You'll have to
So-
send us some. Well, probably won't do it any justice to send us some pictures of it, but
Yeah.
we'd love to see it.
Oh, thank you.
Jess, you think she was impressed with my hand turkey?
I was
Expertise?
so confused when
I know
you
you
said I have
really
a
were.
great hand turkey. I'm like, what are you talking
But you know
about?
what a hand turkey is, right?
Well, yeah, now. But I don't think she's like, wow, Rob's such a great artist. I wish I could have worked with
Well,
him.
there's not much other things of art that I really know. So I was trying to impress her.
I don't
which
think you did it.
I don't think I did either.
But she impressed us.
She impressed us. She does a lot of great things. In fact, she's still very active with the school and sort of the art gallery world and displaying her works here. So it was great.
She's active in the Glassboro community, which I love as a Glassboro resident. So I'm going to keep my eyes peeled for Maureen and see if I see her around at Angelo's, or Glassboro does great things like art walks and all kinds of really neat things. Glassboro's a happening place to be, and Maureen knows it.
And
She's
I think
part
I'm
of
excited
that.
to actually go to Angelo's with Maureen
I know.
because she know all the dirt in town too.
Could you imagine you get breakfast for $2
No.
and 40 something cents? How are they staying open?
I don't know.
We need, you know what we need to do for the Centennial content? We really should do this. Can we bring on the owners of Angelo's Diner and interview them? That would be
We just got a thumbs up. I think we can do that.
All right, that's great. I mean, now I'm bringing it full circle.
Well, so thanks to Maureen. Yeah.
Yeah, I love Maureen. She's giving us inspiration for our next interview.
You've been listening to Beyond the Brown and Gold on Rowan Radio 89.7 WGLS FM. You can find more episodes on your favorite podcasting platforms by searching for Beyond the Brown and Gold or Rowan Radio On Demand.